You guys ever go into a Chipotle and look at the menu and you see all the deliciousness that awaits you as you got 3 line servers just waiting to take your order and make your food right in front of you? You ever go there and you just feel overwhelmed with hunger and you're thinking, man, I'm gonna eat like a fucking king for about $11.60. I'm gonna get a burrito and I'm gonna get a bag of chips and I'm gonna feel like a fucking king, man. You want chicken, beef, chorizo? They got it. You want sour cream, cheese, hot, medium, mild, guac, queso, maybe a little veggie? Do you want a burrito bowl, a salad, maybe a soft taco? They got it, bro. They got it. Everything that I just mentioned is better than Monday Night Raw. Everything that I just mentioned, I would have much rather done than watch Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Taco last night, with a side of Kurt Hawkins and a beverage filled with illogical fucking booking from creative. That's what's on Monday Night Raw's fucking menu. If you guys want to see my fucking Raw review menu, if you guys want the fucking truth, then go and watch the review, man. It's live on the channel right now. But if anybody's walking into a WWE-themed Mexican restaurant after last night, they're leaving with Ebola. They ain't leaving with a fucking smile on their face and a full tummy, I'll tell you that. Fuck out of here, man. I'd rather have the tacos than watch this fucking dumpster fire edition of Monday Night Raw. You don't believe me? Blow me. Might be a new t-shirt. Might be a new fucking t-shirt, man. You don't believe me? Blow me. There you go. Anyway, man. We're not here to talk about Monday Night Raw. Thank fucking Christ. I don't want to give myself another disease. We're here to talk about SmackDown Live, man. Listen. It was a passable show tonight. Tonight's edition of SmackDown Live was a passable show. It gets a C- if I'm grading this as a professor in a college classroom. WWE put forth some decent things tonight, but ultimately it ended up being a come back and do better episode of SmackDown Live. But then again, when you compare it to Monday Night Raw, I mean, anything is better than fucking Monday Night Raw. I'd rather brush Kevin Dunn's teeth for fucking 24 hours. Every hour on the hour. Than watch fucking Monday Night Raw again last night. I don't understand, man. Are we headed towards Survivor Series or are we headed towards Money in the Bank? Can someone please fill me in? Because I don't understand what it is with all these 6-man tags. Everything is just rinse and repeat. It's just taking one member and putting someone else in their place every single week. It's the New Day versus a combination of Miz and Bar. This week it was Miz and Samoa Joe and Rusev. What is the difference? What is the difference? Why are we seeing 6 woman tags every single week? It doesn't even have to be heading towards Money in the Bank. We get 6 woman tags every fucking week. Doesn't matter what pay-per-view we're going towards. In a pay-per-view that is pretty much like a Royal Rumble in hype. It's every man for himself in January, right? It's every man and woman for himself at Money in the Bank. Could someone please tell me why Samoa Joe is teaming or allowing to be teamed with The Miz and Rusev against the New Day? I mean, what does Joe have to gain? Or The Miz or Rusev for this matter. I'm just using Joe because he's the most dominant of the 6 men in that ring in the main event. What does it mean to Joe to team up with these guys when it's every man for himself? Why would he want to team up with 2 guys that he is going to be going up against at Money in the Bank on June 17th? Wouldn't he much rather break both of their arms? What does this match mean to Joe? winning or losing this match, what does it do to Joe? When all he's thinking about is becoming Mr. Money in the Bank. And the same thing goes for the women. I think Alexa Bliss was the smartest out of everybody last night on Monday Night Raw. Faked an injury. I ain't teaming with these two bitches. My eye is on Money in the Bank. I don't give a fuck about this match. That's the way I interpreted it anyway. What is with these 6-man tags? You know, I don't know if it's my old school way of thinking, but I'd much rather see a one-on-one match and then maybe we get a tag team match with two guys who are kind of friendly with one another but still can't stand each other, maybe against the New Day. What is with these 6-man tags every fucking week? The only thing that we get highlighted from these 6-man tags is underneath all the syrup and the fucking pancakes and the IHOP references and the pancake batter and all this fucking cereal and all this fucking kitty bullshit with the New Day. Underneath all that, with these 6-man tags, you kind of get to see when it's time to fucking get serious, the New Day is actually very good. And we know that because of what we've seen them do with the Usos. We know that they are damn good. But I don't see what this is doing for anybody involved in Money in the Bank. I really don't. Their priority should be, I don't give a fuck about anybody else. I don't want to team with these guys. I want to fucking kill everybody headed towards June 17th, rather, in Chicago. And I want Money in the Bank. I can't wait for Money in the Bank to be over. That's why I said fucking July. This build has been terrible. Seems like it's been going on forever. But you get my point. Where is the intensity between competitors? Why are you teaming them up with one another? That's just lazy writing. That is lazy fucking creative writing. I would definitely much rather see a Joe versus Big E, or an Xavier Woods versus a Miz, or a Rusev versus a Big E, or a Rusev versus Joe. WWE could have come up with any kind of combination here to do one-on-one match, you know, to build these guys individually going into Money in the Bank. Who's the hottest? Who's the coldest? Who's the favorite? Who's the least favorite? WWE's just putting everybody in a tag team match because they don't fucking care. And if they don't care, why the fuck am I going to care? That's the one thing that I noticed in the main event. Other than that, it was the same shit that we seen last week with the bar. Just take out Rusev and Samoa Joe and you got the same fucking match. Literally nothing different compared to last week. Carmela and Asuka have absolutely nothing going for it right now. You know, WWE has some balls, man. I wanted to shut SmackDown off at 8:01. Soon as SmackDown Live came on the air and Tom Phillips gave you his formulaic intro, welcome to Corpus Christi, Texas. This is SmackDown Live. Every single week, it's the same introduction from Tom Phillips. And then we get Carmella's music hitting the PA system. I wanted to reach for my remote control, and I wanted to turn on Big Bang Theory. Or Bizarre Foods with Andrew Zimmern. I'd much rather see him eat some fucking weird shit in Alaska than watch this bullshit. This feud has absolutely nothing going for it. There's zero intensity here. Zero. WWE has Carmella come out, and she's hyping up Asuka. She's hyping up Asuka in this beautiful video package, highlighting her 900 plus days being undefeated. So what Carmella realistically did is highlight how much of a threat Asuka really is. And what she did is highlight how great Asuka is compared to Carmella and how much inferior Carmella is compared to whatever Asuka has done in her WWE career thus far. So they show this video package of all the highlights of the 900 plus days being undefeated, and then WWE has Carmella show another video package. This is exactly what I want to see starting SmackDown Live, fucking video packages. This is something that should have been placed in the middle of the show, not to open the show. So WWE does a highlight video package of Asuka winning and then Asuka losing. Her losing to Charlotte at WrestleMania, and then her losing a tag team match to the Iconics. Asuka is defeated, she said. Everyone is ready for Asuka. I'm ready for Asuka. You're ready for Asuka. Yeah, I'm fucking ready for Asuka to take the fucking title off of your unimportant fucking shoulder. God, is she fucking terrible. I can't stand this woman anymore. WWE loves to kill me when it comes to talent. I was big on Carmella. I'm like, okay, give Carmella the spotlight. Let's see what she can do on a SmackDown Live that really has nothing going for it. Now that SmackDown Live has a Becky, and Naomi, a Charlotte, and Asuka, this is the woman you're looking at as a women's champion on this brand? I can't wait for her to lose the title and then get back to the fucking line and be stapled there. Who cares about this match going into Money in the Bank? If Asuka doesn't win, then there's some serious issue. But I have a feeling we're going to get a fuck finish at Money in the Bank, because just like AJ and Nakamura, I have this weird, sneaky suspicion that WWE is going to linger this on into Extreme Rules. Because the pay-per-view calls for it. There's no rules, right? Do you see WWE ending any feud at Money in the Bank going into Extreme Rules? Why would you start a new feud going into Extreme Rules? It's not even a B-level pay-per-view. It's a D-level pay-per-view. So Asuka is out there. She doesn't say anything. She's looking at Carmella. Then Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville come out, and they proclaim that, yeah, Carmella is ready for Asuka. We were ready for Asuka. Mandy Rose says she was ready for Asuka. Mandy Rose should have came out and says, yeah, I'm ready to shoot the next fucking Pornhub.com exclusive. Sonya Deville says she's ready for Asuka. So Sonya says that she wants Asuka tonight after what Mandy Rose did to her last week. They exposed her. So Paige comes on out. We get Wrestler A, Wrestler B, Wrestler C and D, and then the Authority figure. Wow, some creative fucking show you got planned here, WWE. It's the same thing, except for the men on Monday Night Raw. You got the women doing it on SmackDown Live. So Asuka says she wants both of them in a handicap match. Paige says, this is the Asuka we want to see. This is the Asuka that we all love. So we got Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and they get fed to Asuka. They get offense through most of the match, and then we get the Asuka lock on Sonya Deville, and Asuka beats both Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Does that make me want to see Asuka beat Carmella any more than I already did? No. Was it worth having Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in a 2-on-1 situation lose to Asuka? I don't know what that's telling you, but I hope WWE is priming Asuka to take that title off of Carmella, because Carmella has done absolutely nothing with that title. I don't give a fuck if she's beat Charlotte or not. You think Carmella is going to do any better with Asuka compared to what she did to Charlotte? In fact, she may even have a worse match with Asuka. That belt needs to come off her ASAP. Mella ain't money. Mella is bankrupt. Mella's trash. Mella is cringe. Mella is misery. AJ Styles and Nakamura. Their contract signing tonight was actually very simple, very effective, and I appreciate the fact that WWE did not do this thing in the middle of the ring like they do everything else. It was a little bit more romantic. It was a little bit more private. We didn't have the live audience there. It was just a showcase of two guys going into a championship match that can't wait to end this bullshit. And I greatly appreciated the change of scenery. It's always nice to do something a little bit different than what we're used to. WWE could use more of that. Nakamura remained calm throughout this entire thing, man. His facial expressions are on point. If I'm grading Nakamura on a college-level scale, I'm giving him an A+. Nakamura's facial expressions are brilliant. He remained calm. He was unfazed by Styles. Styles says that they go way back. They have a history together. They feel like they've been fighting forever. Nakamura just sat there and he didn't say anything. AJ Styles signs the contract. Nakamura looked at the contract. He takes the one pen and says this pen doesn't work. He asks AJ for his pen. He takes AJ's pen. He looks at it, says this pen is broken. And then AJ Styles gets so flustered and so animated, he slaps Nakamura right across the face. Nakamura is sitting there laughing and smirking. He pulls his own pen out of his suit jacket, signs the contract. The officials were very disappointed in AJ Styles kind of slapping Nakamura, and they carted him away. They carried him away because AJ Styles needed to be detained. He got a little bit too emotional. Nakamura signs the contract. He gets up, he looks at Paige, and he says, "Last man standing." And I love the way that they did that because Nakamura remained unfazed. AJ Styles got a little bit too emotional. They got him out of the area, the officials did, and Nakamura stands up. And I like the whole meaning of the last man standing. They carted him away, and Nakamura was the last man to get up from the table. I really like that, man. It was just very simple, very effective, and I appreciate WWE taking that out of the ring, which we're normally used to seeing, and putting it in the backstage area with Paige overseeing the thing, you know, and nobody went through a table. There wasn't a big brawl. It's nice to have different every now and then. The tag team division on both shows, but we all know Monday Night Raw's division is fucking horrendous. SmackDown Live is no better. It is no better at all. It's being treated like an afterthought. It's unimportant. WWE clearly has no direction for anyone in the tag team division. And it probably means that whatever the Bludgeon Brothers do and whatever the club do at Money in the Bank won't matter either. Gallows and Anderson, I wrote in my notes, didn't even get an entrance, man. They got a fucking jobber's entrance. Barely any offense did Carl Anderson get on Luke Harper tonight. The Bludgeon Brothers, Luke Harper got most of the offense in this match. They barely got an entrance as it is, and they are the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. Luke Harper got most of the offense in here, and he ends up losing. Now, I don't know how you want to look at it. I think a win by Carl Anderson here really does nothing to get you interested in a tag team title match at Money in the Bank, when we all know this match probably is going to get less than 5 minutes. The Bludgeon Brothers are probably going to go in there, and they're probably going to have their feathers rattled a little bit going into Money in the Bank, and then they're going to come together and they're going to dominate at the pay-per-view and retain the titles, because it makes no sense for them to be without the titles. There really hasn't been true competition to come along to take those belts off of the Bludgeon Brothers. I think that's going to be reserved for Sanity whenever they make their debut. And I got news on them going into Friday's episode of Off the Script, episode 225. There's a real reason now why Sanity hasn't debuted, and it's not because of what we heard. It's not because Vince McMahon killed the gimmick. It's not because they're going back down to NXT. It's not because they're being released. It has to do with other reasons. Financial reasons. Copyright reasons. So we'll talk about that on Off the Script. But whatever happened here tonight with Carl Anderson and Luke Harper, I mean, does it give you the sense that the club stand any chance against the Bludgeon Brothers? Does it give you a perception of, yeah, maybe they do deserve the tag team championships? No. And no. My opinion is unchanged going into Money in the Bank with these two teams. A match genuinely nobody cares about. They'd be lucky to even get the pre-show at this point. Ridiculous. It's treated like an afterthought, and the fans are going to treat it exactly the same way WWE is treating it. I don't care. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match, I want to talk about this because the more that they show the graphics for the women's Money in the Bank, and I got this in my notes, the more WWE shows the graphics for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, it's painfully obvious which woman does not belong. You got SmackDown Live. You got Naomi, Becky, and Charlotte. On Monday Night Raw, you got Alexa. You got Sasha, you got Natalya, and you got Ember Moon. Out of all 7 of those women, plus the 8th one I'm about to name, which one doesn't belong? The one that I did not name is the one that doesn't belong. When you picture Lana amongst all these other women who are legit wrestlers, what makes you think that Lana stands a chance in Money in the Bank? What makes you think Lana is going to belong to a elite group of women just because she's associated with them on some fucking cheap graphic and some bullshit poster for Money in the Bank? It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. Lana's not even a wrestler. Lana is not a wrestler. She is the sheer definition of diva. Why you wouldn't have anybody else take Lana's spot on this show is just unbelievable to me. I would much rather take Dana Brooke than Lana in this Money in the Bank ladder match. You couldn't put a Mandy Rose in there? You couldn't put a Sonya Deville in there? I don't understand this. You look at it and it's like, boy, does that look bizarre. Speaking of the women, it's so nice to see a one-on-one match on SmackDown Live. This is what WWE should be doing with not only the women, but the men's Money in the Bank. One-on-one matches. Charlotte should have went up against Naomi, and Naomi should have went up against Becky, and Becky should have went up against Charlotte, and Becky should have went up against Lana. One-on-one matches. You can come up with a 6-week worth build with one-on-one matches. And if you want to do tag team matches, then you can do tag team matches. Just 1 week, not every fucking week. It's nice to see a one-on-one match. Now, granted, whatever they gave us tonight with the individuals involved, I'm not saying that the match itself was a pay-per-view worthy match, but with the individuals involved, Becky and Charlotte, it definitely is a feud that should be revisited down the line in 2018. Both women are too good to not be in a feud over the women's championship on SmackDown Live. It creates a real sense of urgency for Money in the Bank. It makes Money in the Bank feel more important when there's one-on-one instead of these 6-woman tags. Charlotte wants to win Money in the Bank. Becky wants to win Money in the Bank. Who is going to be a favorite going into Money in the Bank? Whoever wins that match is going to be the one with the most momentum going into Money in the Bank. You can't say that about the women who are competing in 6-woman tags every fucking week. And Becky and Charlotte actually looked like they were having a good time in there because they're great friends outside of the ring in real life. You seen the little smirks on Becky and Charlotte when they were, going around in circles and playing hopscotch with one another and tying up collar and elbow tie-ups together. They smiled. They were genuinely enjoying the competitive side of whatever they were trying to tell in that ring tonight. Why aren't we seeing more of that during this Money in the Bank 6-week build? I don't get it. Becky won tonight. Made Charlotte tap out. Surprising, yes, I know. But I'll tell you this right now. Whatever happens to Becky and Money in the Bank, it doesn't fucking matter. The fact that she's got to win over Charlotte on TV, the fact that she made Charlotte tap out to her finishing move, is all that I need to see. If Becky's not the number one contender going into whoever the champion is coming out of Money in the Bank, WWE is really fucking things up. I don't want to hear anybody fucking complain. There's nobody else on that roster that is positioned above Becky Lynch at this point. Whoever wins that championship match, whoever comes out of that match as champion, Becky Lynch is the number one contender. Not Mandy Rose, it ain't Sonya Deville, it's not fucking Naomi, it's not Lana, it's Becky. You don't have her tap out Charlotte on television clean, and you don't have it mean anything. Becky is the number one contender. Whatever happens at Money in the Bank, she could put on a great performance and lose. I don't fucking care. That Tuesday, she's number one contender. Don't at me, motherfucker. You know it's the truth. Another thing that I want to praise WWE on and give them a little golf clap. Reminded me of the old school days with fucking Mean Gene Okerlund. Except they didn't have the fucking stage. We got this fucking stupid Titantron. Big Cass was interviewed by Renee Young right by the entranceway on the stage for SmackDown Live. It had a very old school vibe to it. Instead of doing it in the ring, WWE just changed the scenery. It's amazing what a change of scenery does for a segment. And I really appreciate that. I would like to see more of that moving forward. Switch it up. Make things less predictable, WWE. Little golf clap there, man. I wish the interview went a little bit better. Big Cass shoot off Renee Young. Goes on and on and on about how Daniel Bryan's never been in the ring with someone like him. Why can't Daniel Bryan beat Big Cass? You know the reason that Big Cass gave? Because he's tall. Because he's tall. So you want me to believe that Daniel Bryan can't beat Big Cass because he's tall? Are you fucking serious? You're talking about a guy who beat Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista in the same evening. So I think getting past Big Cass is a walk in the Cheesecake Park, motherfucker. Give me a break. I don't know what it is with this Big Cass hype train. I don't know what it is with all these Big Cass cocksuckers out there. Big Cass, right now anyway, doesn't have it. He is painful to listen to. His voice doesn't match whatever he's saying. He has no intensity whatsoever. He doesn't have it. I'm not saying that he might not have it in the future, but I certainly don't want to see it now. The guy clearly is not ready for the position that he's in. I know why he's where he is. WWE, they have, plans in motion. On paper, it looks like they have the right thing going. Put Big Cass against the most over babyface in the company. We want him heel. Let's put him against Daniel Bryan. On paper, that looks like a fucking brilliant idea. But what we've been given so far has been garbage. They had a very lackluster match at Backlash, and we're getting a match at Money in the Bank that I don't think anybody gives a fuck about. Nobody believes in Big Cass. Nobody really wants to see Big Cass beat Daniel Bryan. We don't know what's going on with Daniel Bryan because we don't know if he's going to sign a new contract or not. So at Money in the Bank, we may very well see Big Cass go over Daniel Bryan. The fuck do I know? But if Big Cass does beat Daniel Bryan, it's still not going to do anything for Big Cass because Big Cass doesn't have it right now. I'm not saying that he won't have it in the future, but he certainly isn't doing himself any favors right now, and WWE isn't helping. He should not be where he is right now. At all. And my next question is, after Daniel Bryan, where does Big Cass go? Who do you feud Big Cass with? If you can't make a feud interesting with Daniel Bryan, I doubt you're going to make any feud interesting for the rest of the year. Just think about that. If you are uninterested in what Big Cass is doing with Daniel Bryan right now, are you going to find yourself interested in what Big Cass does for the rest of the year? Absolutely fucking no. Andrade Cien Almas and Sin Cara. Andrade on SmackDown Live tonight. Happy to see him. He didn't wrestle, but Sin Cara conducted an interview. And Zelina Vega came out and proclaimed that Sin Cara was someone who held Andrade back. Sin Cara said that Andrade looked up to him. They knew each other since they were 14 years old. Zelina Vega says that Sin Cara hid Andrade under a mask and told him to perform under a mask. Wanted to hide Andrade from the world. Zelina Vega comes in and says, the best thing to ever happen to Andrade was me. And it's very hard to disagree with. He doesn't need a mask. He is Andrade. He's going to take over SmackDown Live. So, Zelina Vega said that Paige has granted them a match with Sin Cara next week on SmackDown Live. And out of nowhere, Andrade comes out from the back and interrupts this interview and beats the shit out of Sin Cara, throws him into a production crate and some steel pipes, and beats the shit out of him right there in the interview segment. This was the first dose of real intensity on this entire show. Someone who legitimately played their role perfectly on SmackDown Live tonight. Andrade brought the intensity. I believe in Andrade because of what we already seen from him in NXT, and he applied that to a undercard feud here, setting up a match with Sin Cara. That I can appreciate. I also appreciate WWE taking their time with Andrade Cien Almas. Might not be where we want him to be, but he's 28, 29 years old. I'm sure he will be where we all want him to be sooner rather than later. People want to rush Andrade, but I like the slow pace that they're going. They stopped the enhancement matches. That was way beneath him. Now they got him going up against actual WWE talent in Sin Cara. Step by step by step. He will get to where we want him to be. And I like that Andrade has this certain intensity to him that really we haven't seen on this show in a very long time. You see it in Joe sometimes. I'm waiting for Joe to be unleashed so we can see more of that. I want to see more of Andrade do what he did tonight against Sin Cara. A lot of people are already complaining, well, I want to see him wrestle. He doesn't need to wrestle every week. I told you this week in and week out. I want to see him in Money in the Bank. Why didn't they put him in Money in the Bank? Because he's not going to fucking win the Money in the Bank. Why are you going to put someone in there in their first big major pay-per-view match and have him lose? You don't put a guy like Andrade in a major pay-per-view match and have him lose his first pay-per-view match. That's not proper booking. That's stupidity. It's not like Andrade's not going to be a part of Money in the Bank going forward. It's not his year. There's a time and a place for those things to happen. It's not his year. No matter how many 5-star matches he has in NXT. So I appreciate the build that WWE is doing with Andrade. And I'm looking forward to seeing him on SmackDown Live as the weeks go on. Someone else that we have not seen on SmackDown Live, which makes me wonder what the fuck they're doing with him and the title at Money in the Bank. Jeff Hardy has not been on the show in 2 weeks. Are they really just giving him time off to recoup some nagging injuries? I don't know. Or is it the fact that WWE doesn't have any solid plans for the United States Championship? I think I'm going to take a mixture of both of those answers. And I don't know what WWE is going to do at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view with the United States Championship. Knowing them, they'll probably just put him in a pre-show match against Shelton Benjamin. Because they have nothing planned for the United States Championship. How you give Jeff Hardy the United States Championship and you can't even book that title correctly? I hope that's not the case. And I hope this is just the fact that WWE is just giving Jeff Hardy some time off to take care of some nagging injuries. I don't know how you put that title on Jeff Hardy and you can't book that title correctly. That would be a crying, pathetic shame on Creative's behalf. I hope I'm wrong in that aspect. Those are all the top stories from SmackDown Live, man. Like I said, the show started off with Carmela and Asuka. Carmela tries to unmask and expose Asuka, but that didn't work. It didn't make me or you believe that Carmela's going to win the title match at Money in the Bank, and that led to a handicap match with Asuka versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Asuka beats both of these women as she applied the Asuka lock on Deville in the center of the ring, and Deville taps out. After the match, Deville rolls out of the ring. Asuka stands tall. Carmella looks on, and Carmella enters the ring, raises her title in the air. Rose comes from behind and grabs Asuka. Asuka drops her with a back fist. Carmella takes advantage and nails Asuka in the back of the head with the title. More like scraped her with the title. It looked awful. Carmella then kicks Asuka down and poses over her with the title as her music hits the PA system. Carmella is just misery, people. I cannot stress you enough, or stress to you enough, how this title needs to be put on Asuka, and we get Asuka versus Charlotte at SummerSlam. Or at this point, I'd even take Asuka versus Becky at this point. You know, it's not out of the realm of possibility for a face to go against a face. Because all I know is WWE, if they're really building Charlotte to win the Royal Rumble and go on to fight Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 35 in the main event, supposedly, Charlotte better go into that match a heel. It's about time we see heel Charlotte, because that's when Charlotte actually plays her role right. And I would play Charlotte in the role of, you know, failing to get past Becky, failing to get past Asuka, failing to capture the women's championship. And she just goes on this maniacal fucking journey to just desperately try and get the title back. And she's betraying friends, and she's ruining relationships. And She goes into the Royal Rumble just betraying everybody, going into business for herself, and going into that match with Ronda as a heel. That's what I think needs to be done. I think babyface Charlotte is a little too cringe for me. I think Charlotte naturally is a bitch, and I want to see her just unleash that, if that is the case, with Ronda Rousey. We get a backstage promo with The Miz and The New Day. The New Day teased The Miz that, listen, we're going to let you choose out of a hat the one member of The New Day who's going to compete at Money in the Bank in the ladder match. So they have The Miz stand there and they blindfold him. They got a top hat and they got names and paper in the top hat. They got 3 papers in the top hat. New Day says, no. You got to do this blindfolded. And they switch hats. They take the hat that they originally had with the names in it, and they take a hat and put it in front of The Miz that's filled with pancake batter. So when The Miz goes to reach into the hat blindfolded to pull out a name, he gets nothing but a handful of pancake batter. He throws it on every one of their faces. He wipes his hand on that goon holding the pancake tray with the glasses. And that's that. Pretty much just setting up their 6-man tag for later on in the evening. Luke Harper versus Carl Anderson. This one went maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes tops. Carl Anderson gets a win out of nowhere. Anderson keeps fighting back. He tries to get some offense in. Luke Harper dominated most of this match. He rolls Harper up out of the corner, out of nowhere, getting the pin miraculously with 0 offense in this match. 0. Luke Harper dominated this match. Harper and Rowan stunned that Carl Anderson got the win here on SmackDown Live. Do you care about the tag team titles going into Money in the Bank? Fuck no. WWE doesn't, and I certainly do not. Lana and Aiden English versus Jimmy Uso and Naomi, a take on the Mixed Match Challenge, but just replace Rusev with Aiden English. This had nothing to do with Money in the Bank. This was nothing but mere filler. And this is all in the first hour of the show. This was all in the first hour of the show. This match didn't do anything to get you excited about Money in the Bank. You got Jimmy with the Umaga splash in the corner. Lana breaks the pin on Jimmy. Lana slapped Jimmy. Naomi then comes in and leaps over him with an assist, tackling Lana with strikes. English takes advantage, drops Uso in the corner. English mocks Jimmy and goes for the corner splash, but Naomi runs in, and out of nowhere, beautiful camera shot. They weren't filming. They didn't have the camera placed on the top turnbuckle, but it looked like Naomi flew out of nowhere off the top rope. Crossbody onto Aiden English. Jimmy Uso follows with a super kick, and then a pin for the win here over Aiden English. Super kick. I thought he went for the Superfly Splash, but he did not. It ended with a super kick. English gets pinned by Jimmy, and Naomi get the victory here on SmackDown Live. Like I said, it did nothing to enhance Naomi and Lana going into Money in the Bank. The contract signing with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura was very good. It was different. It was out of the ordinary from what we're usually seeing. We already discussed that. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. This was a decent match that I hope they continue on into a major feud in 2018. Becky Lynch wins with a disarm her. Becky was about to be put in a figure 4. It got blocked. Flair tried it again, but Becky turns it into a disarmer, and she taps out Charlotte for the win. Like I said, Becky Lynch, no matter what she does at Money in the Bank, is and should be the number 1 contender for the Women's Championship. Flair sat up, walks over to Becky to help her up. Fans cheer, and they hug in the middle of the ring. Enough of that. Nobody should be hugging going into Money in the Bank. You should be friends, but also maintain that level of competitiveness going into Money in the Bank. Dasha Fuentes is backstage with Samoa Joe, and she sounded like an android as always on SmackDown Live. Samoa Joe, what are your thoughts about Money in the Bank? Can we get somebody with some fucking personality, please? I'd much rather see Kathy Kelly do these interviews. At least she's pretty to look at, and she's got some type of personality. Jesus fucking Christ. She's got no emotion. She's a robot. She's a robot. She's backstage with Joe. Joe cut her off. Thank Christ. He even knows. And asks what she sees when she looks at him. I see a fucking beast. That's what I look at. A vicious man? Maybe a man who has the conscience of a rabid dog? Or a moral compass so backwards that he will stop at nothing to get what he wants? Joe is a man who keeps his promises, he said. Really? I wish that would have made sense. They got Joe scripted to say a line like that. Meanwhile, he tried to keep a promise against Roman Reigns. He should have beat Roman Reigns at Backlash, but WWE instead gives the win to Roman Reigns if it did anything for fucking Roman Reigns going forward. Fuck out of here. Joe wants to keep his promises, but he can't beat Roman Reigns, though. So automatically, whatever he stated there, gone out the window. But he did promise to put Daniel Bryan to sleep, and he did just that last week. He also climbed the ladder and got the contract, can't say briefcase, which terrified the locker room because they saw the truth. Joe then says whoever will be the WWE champion will be labeling himself as a marked man. Joe says with him, what you see is what you get, and everyone will get it very soon. Moving on here, man. The main event, New Day versus The Miz, Rusev, and Samoa Joe. Again, I mean, these six-man tags do absolutely nothing for Money in the Bank. They are mere filler. If you guys literally, I am being completely honest with you, if you've seen the great six-man tag it was last week with The Bar and The Miz versus The New Day, that was a good six-man tag. That was a good six-man tag. But what we got tonight, I don't see what the fucking purpose was. It was literally, let's take last week's script, erase a couple of names, fill in these two guys here, and put that on in the main event. As if we didn't see it last week. And again, it does nothing for Money in the Bank. The New Day win here. There was a terrific spot in this match where Kofi was going to do a trust or a springboard into the ring. And Corey Graves called it beautifully, man. He called it an optical illusion. It looked like Kofi was going to, it was on the opposite side of the ring. And it looked like he was going to jump into the ring. But instead, he just fell backwards onto whomever was outside. So it was a very, very cool spot. Rusev and Joe are teaming up here. Miz pleads with Rusev, drops him with a machka kick because apparently the Miz had a tray of pancakes and he wanted to dump the pancakes on Big E. His teammates are telling him, oh, look on the outside. You got Kofi and Xavier trying to get back into the ring. Miz knocks them off the apron. So he takes the pancakes and inadvertently throws them on Rusev and Samoa Joe. You know, good thing they weren't covered in butter and syrup. They're acting as if they got fucking covered in pancake batter. They had a fucking stiff as a board pancake thrown at them. So the Miz pleads, but Rusev drops him with a machka kick. Joe hits him with a senton while he's down. Miz is out of commission. Rusev and Joe walk out on the Miz now. Big E comes in, scoops up Miz. Kofi goes to the top rope. Midnight hour. Big E covers the Miz for the win, and the New Day get the victory as SmackDown Live goes off the air. That was your SmackDown Live, man. Hour 1 sucked. Very bland and very boring. Hour 2 picked it up a little bit with the six-man tag, Samoa Joe, Andrade, the contract signing, Charlotte versus Becky. So if I was to grade this SmackDown, I would give it a C-, to be perfectly honest with you. Was it better than Monday Night Raw? Anything better than Monday Night Raw. The gas that's coming out of my ass right now is better than fucking Monday Night Raw. Anything is better than Monday Night Raw. But SmackDown Live, man, you gotta do better, man. You gotta do better. I can't wait for Money in the Bank to be over because this build right now for this pay-per-view is so long. And the fact that we got shitty fucking television every single week, especially on Monday Night Raw. SmackDown Live hasn't been doing that bad. They've been decent shows, but they could always be better. The fact that we've gotten poor quality television for this 6-week build going into Money in the Bank, it seems like it's 2 fucking months of build for this pay-per-view. I can't wait for it to be over. I hope Chicago just fucking tears WWE a new asshole, to be honest with you. Anyway, I'll be back with NXT tomorrow night. We got Roderick Strong versus Danny Burch and the continuing hype for NXT TakeOver Chicago. Real wrestling for real fucking people with intelligence on Wednesday nights. So join me on Wednesday nights. We'll cover NXT as always. Until then, Thank you guys so very much. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for NXT. Don't forget to subscribe down below. We are dangerously close to 93,000 subscribers. Let's do it, man. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of SmackDown Live. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night for NXT. I'll talk to you later.